Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Aloha. I don't know which camera I want to look at. The Aloha Pools and Spas Deep Dive Podcast. Sorry, it's a little. Brad's not here to keep me in check, so
well, we're the wrong people to keep you in check because
Brad
we're
is
not the ones
here
who ask
today
questions.
with
30
us.
minutes.
And so we've got a moment with Jamie Worrell, Pat Baker, and we're going to talk today about what it's like working at Aloha, and we're going to discuss what kind of people we're looking for, what kind of positions are open, what it's like during the season, off season, all of that for prospective job seekers or folks that just want to know behind the scenes, to see how the sausage is made. So who wants to start? I think we had talked about maybe starting with our serve, which is our new company values.
Right.
And it used to be feed. And just whenever I learned those, we changed it. So tell us about serve, Jamie.
Well, it stands. Pat will have to help me. It's steady. And it's steady, educated, reliable value. We bring value and we exceed expectations.
Okay, and as you aim your microphone more towards your mouth, tell us let's talk about each one of those briefly.
Well, I think first, which I'm hoping to get our we have a coach for our EOS program. I'm hoping to get him on here at one point. We've got to call out to him, but basically we do traction. It's a Gino Wickman's traction, and you can get the book. It's great for. Yeah, here it is. Actually, it is. It's been a model we've been using for a little bit. But one of the things that you kind of focus on for the first bit of setting your program up is you say, okay, if you can take 3 people from your organization, multiply them and take over the industry, take over the world, who would they be? You kind of take those handful of people and you write them up on the board and you go, okay, so based on your selections, what about those people? Give me words that describe those people and why you would choose them for this process. And so you start with a short list, and then you go, okay, well, that person, they're always there when you call them, and that's what we would hope all the company would be. So, reliable and loyal, and those kinds of words come up, steady, consistent, those kinds of
Right.
And then you have everybody write out, okay, describe that person, and then everybody starts going through their list and saying the words, the descriptive words, and then each time a word is said more than once or a variation of the word, you circle it or you put a check mark next to it, and then you step back and you go, okay, based on all these words, here's the word that kept coming up, and right. So that's steady. Basically where you get serve, yeah.
Right, so steady was the first one.
Steady was the first one.
And we're not going to talk about the people behind the words necessarily.
Right.
But the word steady. So apparently that came up for a few different folks.
It did. Which it's another version of consistent. And don't get me wrong, this it's not saying that you write these things down and then you are these things. It's what you aspire to. So we've got lots of work to do on that front for the whole organization. But Aloha, and I think working here, you'll be able to see. Pat's been here longer than I have, but there's Aloha in season and then there's Aloha off season, and they're not too much different except for on season when I think we talked about it on a previous podcast. Basically, the first like 3 to 4 days of consistent 68 to 75 degree weather. Season just shows up. There's not a.
We're there now,
right? And this year specifically, it's March. There has been very little, if any, rain in a lot of our coverage area. So that plus it hasn't just been bitterly cold in March. It's been the opposite all the way through to now. It's
an amazing year, actually.
Right. We have a couple of days where it'll drop into the 30s, and I think we have 40s coming up in the next.
Can't pour
or
concrete
so.
under 50.
All right, so it's a whole thing. So,
Yeah.
but this year we've been able to make up some good ground compared to last year, where we were basically underwater for a good part of
Right.
the first quarter. So to say all that is, you don't really know when season's going to hit. You just know when it has hit, and then you just hang on for dear life. And that's, I think that would probably be industry wide. But that's why we kind of brought the EOS to kind of bring structure, and we're
Entrepreneurial operating system.
Correct.
Entrepreneurial is a fun
Right.
word to try to spit out.
Yes, but trying to grow it, trying to structure it more, and just make some ground up, and we've done that. I think some of our folks can see that we're making some good headway on it. It's just it's not a quick process. That's probably the most anxious part of the whole thing, is that there's very few things from a goal setting perspective that you can say, we want to have this done by next week. Everything's like it's difference in a canoe versus a cruise ship. Like, everything you do on a cruise ship is calculated, and it takes longer for you to go versus turning on a dime. So it's something that you look at and realize. Brad and I have even talked on the phone lately about how many things we were on the phone the other day actually going, what can we attribute good things that have come from the EOS? And Pat and I are both like, I mean, there's a list somewhere, but it's one of those, and I think I've used this example before. It's one of those, like, if you've really focused on weight loss, need to over here. But if you're really focused on weight loss, you don't see it as much as someone who doesn't see you that often, and then they walk up and they go, "Dude, you." That's what this feels like. It's you're in it. You're focused. You're trying to make ground, and then you spend a lot of time working out the problems, and it takes someone on the outside going, "Hey, this is better." Like, "Oh, is it? Cool." So that's kind of where.
So we're using EOS to try to more refine our processes and help us to just focus the business where it needs to be focused, and steer it. So I'm trying to relate this to the folks that might be watching, and steady to go over quickly, because we don't have an infinite time.
Sure.
Of the what each letter means kind of to us, and to like a prospective applicant. Steady, someone that we can count on. People, we try to be consistent, and
consistency is what we were going for there. It's and some of the people that we brought up are exemplify that. They have their way of processing their work, and they're basically consistent in how they do what they do, and so they're steady. It's just another word. We didn't like the word consistent. We liked steady.
We're also trying to figure out how to make a word.
Yes, because we wanted to make sure it
Instead of spelling feed, FEAD.
Right. We
serve sounds better than curve.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
serve. We wanted to
serve
to
with a C.
push it through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what you did with feed. It
A
threw
little
everyone.
bit.
It threw everyone off with a
little bit off.
FEAD.
I think it was Jeff Jones that, like, shouldn't we spell the word right? Like,
Right.
shouldn't that be? Like, yeah, you're right about that.
So all right, keep moving. The next one is educated, and that kind of speaks for itself. We and it's not just about hiring people with college degrees or things of that. It's more about education within keeping
Yes.
people the knowledge that they need to do their job.
Yes, I think more in the last year and a half or so, we have done more cue the eye rolls from everybody that works here, because we went from we would do periodic trainings to we've had coach after coach. We've been pushing to get better, and so that's we send our folks to trainings in California and trainings in Florida. We bring coaches in to sales coaching and like this EOS coaching and marketing. There's lots of different places that we've brought in to just It's not just about bringing what you know. It's about what you can learn while you're here.
And on
Even
a-
in the service side, though, I mean, we brought
CPOs.
Raypack, we brought CPO, we brought. There's another company that we brought in for on the service side of things, but then in-house training. I mean, heck, I mean, we got Lisa going out there with all of the water testing that we have never done in the past.
And then hooking that in through the customer base, because we actually had Lisa last year. It was great. This year it's proving to be even more of a thing. Lisa doing her pool school, taking it to each of the stores and inviting customers, old and new, to the store itself, to the pool parks that we have there, and being able to say, hey, here's how you operate everything on your filter pad.
And we've
Here's
had
what
Lisa.
this should look like.
We've had Lisa on the podcast before, so folks know she's brilliant when it comes to figuring out how to fix your pool problems.
Right.
If you want to know the chemicals that it'll take to get rid of the algae, or to all the things that come with owning a pool and operating a pool, she's the go-to here.
Right.
So,
It's more. It's to me. It's the people that I've talked to that have done it. It's more peace of mind knowing, okay, it's not intimidating anymore.
Right.
Pool ownership is not intimidating.
that's a little
I
scary.
know what that valve does. I understand it versus walking up to the pad after it's done. Even if it's a pool school that we do, that our project coordinators do, at the end, it feels like new parenthood, where everybody's there, and then all of a sudden
Very
they leave, and
overwhelming.
here you are. You're like, what am I supposed to do
Right.
with this? I don't know. That's making a noise. What does that mean? And so it's been a good thing and we're going to try to get it out there on the web too, or on the social media platforms too, to
Right.
kind of do frequently asked questions and things like that.
We're working on it.
so that we can get that out to everybody, because it's in that world, I don't know if there's such thing as too much education.
Right. So steady, educated, reliable.
Reliable. That speaks for itself. I mean, we try to be this time of year. There's so much inflow of traffic. Everybody's wanting everything right now, because they're all, especially over the weekend, they'll all get out there and they've been holed up for the winter, and they want this done right now. And we will acknowledge failure all the time, because we're going to. But especially in this time of year, there's just so much. One thing we're hearing right now is that the service we can't get through to the service department. We're like, yeah. We had 3 different people there. Yes, I got to sit in the office yesterday, and it was watching poor Kristen. She would hang up the phone, and then she would pick up the phone, and then she would hang up the phone, and she'd pick up the phone, and then we've got Courtney and John were in there as well, and it's just for the whole day, it was just nothing but picking up the phone, answer, and at the same time going, hey, I can't get through. It's like, yeah, it's a tough little gig right now, because everybody's wanting it at the same time. So, but we try to be as reliable as we can, and I think that shows.
I think it definitely, people are acknowledging that on our reviews and things like that. That has definitely increased and has proven to be better over time, for sure.
Okay, so SERV. So that would be, of course, viscosity.
Right.
I'm kidding. It's value.
Yes,
I'm just playing.
we want people to see value in the product that we have.
Yeah.
And we don't want people to walk away feeling like they got less than they should, basically.
And that's pretty easy.
Which leads straight into the exceeds expectations. We try to
the E.
Yes,
the final E.
We try to not only do what we can, but see what we can do to do just a little more.
So that's serve. That's our new, and we haven't even rolled that out to everyone yet. So that we should start seeing posters up around and all of that for those of you employees that are watching.
That's coming.
Right. That will be
and
coming.
We mentioned it at a sales meeting.
Yes.
Day before yesterday, actually.
So and now let's transition a little and talk about working here, just in general. And Pat, you do a lot of interviews for the folks that work here. What kind of positions are you interviewing for?
We will interview for any position.
So say, what are you not interviewing for?
Right,
Right.
right.
Well, what? Imagine you've never heard of Aloha. You're out
I'll
there.
give
You're a
you-
job seeker.
I'll give you the titles of some of them. Obviously, service tech assistants, retail associate, store managers, construction foremans, pool liner crews.
What's a pull liner
Drivers.
crew do? Just pulling some of those out.
They install liners. Service department is one of their most, I would say, more difficult task, and longevity of a task is putting in a new liner. One, you got to drain a pool. Two, you got to take the old liner out typically, and then third, you've got to insert the. Usually, you may have to fix the bottom too. Heck,
floor
crap.
work.
There's floor work that's
right.
got to be done, or side work too. On some cases, I know my dad had to have his done. And then you put your liner in. Then you got to wait for it to fill a certain height, and then you
Just
cut
most of
it
the time
in.
of day.
Yeah,
Most of the time of
yeah.
day.
I mean, and so this crew has to be meticulous. This crew has to be on time. They have to be able to talk with the customer, inform the customer of when to turn shop vacs off. I know that that's a lot of questions that people have, is because we actually shop vacs are put behind a liner to keep it tight up against the wall. And so a lot of communications with the homeowners. But that's it. I mean,
So I'm looking for a job, and I've never done anything with pools before. But maybe I've got a construction background. Maybe I've done, like, what kind of person would best fit for a pool liner tech?
You love to be outside and you don't mind being hot.
Don't mind being hot.
Don't
and
mind being hot.
That's because we live in Tennessee.
it's not just that. You're in a hole.
you're in-
Do you
it's
understand?
exactly right.
You are in a freaking hole.
And
Right.
laying on concrete,
It's
putting the liner in.
Yeah.
It's a folks. Some folks like that. Some folks are like, man, give
Right,
me that,
working
give me that
outside.
lawnmower, work outside kind of scenario. It's not easy work. In the fall and early part of the year, it's not as it's still physical, but it's not as bad. Once you get into the heat of the season, it's
there's just no airflow down there.
right. Exactly.
It reminds me of the movie Office Space, though. If you remember, at the very end, he got out of working at the terrible office, where he was there. Have you seen the movie?
I haven't seen it all the way through.
So yeah, he was an office worker inside, stuck in a cubicle with the people doing, and then now at the very end, he's working construction and he's outside. He like smells, takes in the air, and there's a sense of freedom,
right.
not being cooped up in an office, and it does have its advantages of being out there.
It does.
I sometimes yearn for the day. Years ago, I worked on an assembly line. I was like 18, fresh out of high school. It was one of the first jobs I took, and I was putting CDs into, it was back whenever that's how software came. So
I don't even know if anybody's listening understands what a CD is.
well, the compact disc that would write stuff on. Wow, like what? Yeah, trying to explain to those
know?
people.
Do you know what
Of
a
course
CD
I
is?
do.
But the box would come. Sometimes I would be the person putting the boxes on. But generally, all the movements were like this. You were that, or sometimes, and then at the end, you would take it off and stack it. You didn't have to use your mind. You could talk to because it was a repetitive function. You could talk to those people around you, and I know that it was neat for me to think about. Man, I hated that job at the time. But really, I enjoyed listening to music, and I enjoyed not having to plan and think and calendar and meetings and all of the things that we have to do now. I sometimes yearn for the simplicity. And not that being a liner tech or any of those jobs is super simple, but it's a different type of mindset because you're working on a function, you know what you're doing. You don't have to be super creative to come up with a new way to put it in light. You're going to be putting in, you don't want that. You want consistency. You want the quality, the value, all those things in that. Not to pontificate too much on all this, but you know what I mean? I was just thinking about what are some of the other positions that are out there so I can stop talking.
I believe that I feel like I've named them all. I mean, we have marketing area, we have admin, we have construction admin, we got purchasing, we got warehouse. We
Service
got
techs
runners.
everywhere.
We have runners. I said service techs, didn't I?
How many jobs do
Service
we
techs,
have
service
open at any given moment?
Well, it's
We-
kind of like what Pat said. We will interview anyone at any time.
Okay.
There are a few that we will hit Indeed for and say, hey, we're looking for skilled this or that. But for the most part, we'll if someone's interested, we'll retail in any of those.
I had a lady from marketing who's fixing to graduate with a marketing degree. I said, heck yeah. I mean, send me your stuff and, we'll talk. Because you don't ever know. We are a growing company. We are 5+ stores.
That's a good point because I mentioned earlier we're in Tennessee, but we're also in Arkansas. We're in Illinois. We're in Missouri. We do a lot in Kentucky. We're a regional situation here. So,
Right.
If someone's in O'Fallon, Illinois right now looking for work, especially in O'Fallon, Illinois right now looking for work, come talk to us.
Absolutely. 100%. Because we actually, that is the Cape and O'Fallon service tech positions are the ones I'm running the most right now.
Cape
on
Girardeau,
Indeed.
Missouri,
Yes.
and the surrounding areas.
Those are the two that I'm really pushing for.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, with the millions of viewers, hopefully someone out there
in
will
O'Fallon,
tell a friend
Illinois,
that's
in Cape
looking
Girardeau,
for a
Missouri.
job in Cape Girardeau or
Yeah,
O'Fallon.
or anywhere in between. We'll work it out.
We'll work it out.
So awesome. And now we've talked about the jobs that are open. We've talked about what kind of values the company has. Pat, you've been here the longest out of all of us. And maybe we're not all the three people to ask. We should grab someone off the street, off of the retail team or whatever, come in here and say, tell us about working here. But that's part of the reason why Brad's not here, because we wanted to be able to talk candidly. And I can assure you he'll never click on this video and watch it. I promise you he won't be watching it as soon as I post it. So speak freely.
I will speak freely.
That's why
I
he said
know,
he
yeah,
didn't.
that's true.
He's like, I gotta be out of here. Y'all say what you got.
What's it like working here?
Okay, well, I've worked all positions. I've worked retail. I've worked store manager. I've done sales. I've done construction area. I've dabbled in service. I never had a chair in service. And then now, obviously, a few HR role, a little bit, very little HR. And then a little bit of, I guess, remodel, is in my forecast, and an executive assistant as well. So I feel like I've been able to get a grasp on almost every position that we have here. Working here can be intense, but it can be fun. The hardest part coming in is you don't know what it's like until you're into it. You have to have a season. I know we say it all the time, but you don't know what it's really like working here until then. It's crazy. It is family oriented. And if you ever go back, there is a video. Y'all, I know you don't know me, but my memory is terrible. But I assure you that what I'm going to say has already been said by me years ago. But it is family oriented, but we also fight like family. But we also have each other's backs like family. You just, sometimes you just want to run. Sometimes you want to run and just hide and just I'm done for just a little while, because you got to run out of the rat race. Because this isn't Wall Street, but it's like a rat race during the spring when everything gets going. It literally, you are just on fire 24/7. The company itself has evolved over the last, I will not say how many years I've worked here. I will just say over 10.
We've been here since 1969.
Again, I'm just going to say over 10. But I'm not the oldest cat here, but I've been here for a hot minute, and it has very much evolved. The industry has evolved, but Aloha cares so much about their customers that it is the number one thing. And I don't say this because I work for this company. Sometimes we're too much customer focused. I think that we forget a little bit of the things that we need to do on the back end because we are so customer focused. I know that's hard to explain, but I don't know that I've ever been around a company that would bend over backwards for a customer who may or may not, I don't want to say that word. I'm terrible with words. Is in their warranty time frame. That's what I'm going to say. I think we come together as a group. We see the issues, we fight them out, and we do what's best for the customer. And that is one of the things that I think is worth fighting for when you work here. And I think when I'm doing the interviewing, I use serve. Technically, I use feed, but I use serve in my interview processes so that we have a good grasp of the right people coming in to this industry who can serve our customers. And I think we are getting better and better every day with that.
It's one of our a part of that too is what makes you unique as a company, and I'll agree with that. One of the make it right kind of guarantee that we have, where even at our loss, we find ourselves when we have failed talking to customers and saying, okay, what makes in your mind what makes this right at this point, and then we if not do that thing, get very close to that thing.
I have to say, from being the short termer here, I haven't even gone through the season yet. I'm just now starting to see the season. I've been trying to get you guys wrangled for a 30-minute podcast for weeks because we're just in the throes of it. We're in open house mode. We're in people. I'm starting to see customers come in. I'm really seeing all the wheels moving a lot more than they were back in the fall, in the late fall, or in around Christmas time. And so even though marketing's kind of we're in our own little cave in the back and don't necessarily see it all. When I come out, I'm like, wow, there's people. I haven't seen people before.
Did you know somebody didn't realize that there was an office back here for marketing? They thought it ended and went this way. They didn't even know there was a
that it came back here.
Yeah, they didn't even know who Tess was. They were like, who's Tess? And they work here every day. And I'm like, Tess marketing?
Because
we
live in our own little because we're doing stuff behind the scenes. We're posting on. I mean, you should see us on Facebook, all the socials and things like that. But we don't venture out there unless we're taking pictures or getting video or things of that nature. But all that being said, to get to the point,
it's also fun, by the way.
I have to say that this is, and I've worked at a bunch of different companies. This I admire how we focus on the customer and how we focus on our product and how we it is a lot of companies. Everybody says for marketing, we're the best. We're this, we're that. But are you? We have the proof to back it up. When I see, us be number 8 in the nation for service, out of pool companies, I was impressed. I feel a little more big time because I, work for Aloha, and it's got a reputation for being a good place to work. When you mention you work at Aloha, people go, "Oh, wow!" So I think that is a good. It's good when your reputation precedes you. When people so, hopefully I'll be here a long time as long as I keep saying good things on the microphone in front. No, you know what I mean. But because I enjoy working here and the people get along with everybody.
Do you really?
I feel like I do. I don't know if they like me or get along with me, but I feel like that's another thing. I had a fellow employee who said something yesterday, and they came to me this morning, was like, "Hey, just so you didn't misinterpret that or whatever." I was like, "No, I didn't. I'd give you the benefit of the doubt. We're all good, whatever." But the fact that everybody's concerned about, what I want to make sure that we understand each other.
And sometimes we get a little over fun for a work job, but I think that's what reels us in sometimes.
Right.
And that's kind of what I meant by family earlier is we can say some of the most terrible things in the world and not mean it that way. And then we're like, oh, didn't mean to say it that way. Can we and then,
right.
fist bump and go.
It's still not veteran level though. We're still not like it was in the military. So it's easy for me to be like, no, you don't even know. It's all good. Like,
I don't want to be military.
No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah. No, we're more relaxed around here.
It is.
Just a little bit.
It's nice.
Yeah, some people have to hide their coffee cups from people.
So anyway, and I guess to sum all of this up and to wrap this up, what do you say to the people that want to be part of the Aloha team? How did they start this journey wherever they're at? If they're in O'Fallon, Cape Girardeau, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Marion, Illinois, Union City, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas, what's the best way? Do they go to alohapoolsusa.com?
This is what I would say, probably the wrong thing to say, but I would say call 731-885-2020 and ask for Pat Baker.
Socials, you can we have people that monitor socials as well.
I see that all the time.
Anytime, hey, I'm interested in, or hey, here's my, it'll get to the right person.
I do see that every now and then where
What
I see,
website, too?
because I monitor all the socials, so I do see every now and then when
we're out there on Indeed, like I said, for some of the skilled positions that we have, they're out there, but we have enough people monitoring socials that's a really good spot to even ask a question and get an answer that way too.
And on the website, I get all of the emails that come through. It's Aloha Pools USA. It comes through my emails, so I can see if somebody's reaching out as well.
Perfect. So hopefully that'll get those people started, and we're going to see 1,000 resumes pop in and questions.
Wait.
Pat's regretting it.
Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe not. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So with that, any closing words or remarks anybody wants to say? Nope. Good. Okay. I know.
Open
no, it's all
houses
good.
this weekend, and I'm fixing to go like fire it up out there.
I know
That's
you
where I'm
guys are
headed.
you're anxious, chomping at the bit because this is the busy season, and I pulled them out of what they were doing reluctantly to come talk to us about this. So I appreciate you guys giving me some time. Okay. Actually, let's take a few moments in silent reflection where we just calm down. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing around. Like, no, we want to get back to work. So anyway, thank you so much. Again, we request that if you've got something that you want to see a podcast about, if you have questions, ask them below. You can find us, of course, on YouTube, on our website, alohapoolsusa.com. Like and share, tell your friends if you've got questions about pools or hot tubs, saunas, chill tubs, life in general. Hit us up below, and we'll try to answer those, or maybe even have a whole show about it. Maybe even have you on. So, with that, and for Brad Cook, who is not here and normally is here, I'm John Watts, along with Jamie Worrell, Pat Baker. Thank you so much, and dive safely.